Thank you, Luann. When I arrived in Chicago, all I remember was the cold. And when they called me Jap and slant-eyed girl, I laughed. All I remember about Chicago were those words that froze my soul. I want to thank Chairman Jeff Morey and ASAP for inviting me to be with you, and I want to thank Mike for his comments, and I want to thank Mike especially for speaking while y'all were eating. And I want to say that he commented that Cecil seems to know a lot about Asians, and I want to say he should know a lot about Asians. Although Cecil has never accused me of being quiet. All of you are the experts in addiction and treatment. So I'm going to talk about Martha and me and a few other friends and relations and read you some poems. After my family was released from the Aurora, Arkansas camp, we moved to Chicago to escape racism, I heard. We weren't there too long and returned to California, and I grew up in Petaluma, a small chicken farming community. I went to grammar school with two other Japanese Americans, Martha and Milton. Everyone else was Italian, German, Irish, Jewish, and Portuguese. Milton was my boyfriend. Martha was my best friend. She smiled all the time, had the deepest dimples, and our teacher, Mrs. McGovern, called Martha a model student. Martha's father taught Buddhism at a temple in Sebastopol, and her mother made the best tasting cream puffs I'd ever eaten. She'd make cream puffs for the whole class, which made Martha very popular and made me very jealous. Milton started flirting with Martha, who kept on smiling, which made me more jealous. So I grabbed Martha's two beautiful long pigtails and threw her to the floor, and we rolled over and over, and I was spitting and screaming and scratching, and Martha was giggling. Yeah, Martha was giggling. And old Milton just kept out of the way. I realized that I couldn't win this fight, and I started to cry. And Martha smiled and comforted me. Really, I should have kicked Milton's ass, but that's how it is, you know, ladies. We are programmed from birth, right? I believe I was the first and probably the last Japanese American student in that grammar school to have her knees slapped by Mrs. McGovern's yardstick. As she said, I disgraced my race. Anyway, Martha smiled through junior and senior high school. I don't recall Martha ever crying, yelling, or complaining. She never got angry or expressed sadness. In fact, I don't remember Martha talking much at all. But I always envied her tranquility, her poise, and her self-assuredness that was conveyed by that smile. A few years after high school, I learned that Martha committed suicide by jumping off the Golden Gate Bridge. She was in her mid-20s. I heard she had been rejected by a man who deceived her into thinking he would marry her, but he was already married. Wait, Martha! I know the pain is unbearable now, but in a year, you would have been glad the liar was out of your life. Wait, Martha. Don't let a weak, dishonest sex addict in denial who thinks his strength comes from hurting women make you give up control of your life. Wait, Martha. If I could have, I would have caught you in midair as you tumbled toward the concrete slab of the ocean. I would have said, Martha, I love you. And I'm really pissed off at you for killing yourself because of a man. But I know that man didn't kill Martha. Martha's smile killed Martha. Her smile was her denial. She denied her anger, her need, her self-worth, her hurt, her power, all her feelings. Martha chose to murder her pain. Martha and I are also the college student who jumped to her death from her dormitory window. This story appeared in an East Coast newspaper a few years ago. The Asian American girl's body was found 2 days later under a deep cover of snow. Her suicide note contained an apology to her parents for having received less than a perfect 4-point grade average. Not good enough, not pretty enough, not smart enough. Dear mother and father, I apologize for disappointing you. I've worked very hard. Not good enough. Harder, perhaps, to please you. If only I were a son, I know I would have made you proud. Not strong enough. My sacrifice I will drop bone by bone, perched on the ledge of my womanhood, fragile as wings. Not good enough. It is snowing steadily, surely not good weather for flying. Not smart enough. I make this window ledge my altar to offer penance. This air will not hold me. The snow weights my crippled wings. Not strong enough. Where did you go to, all of my children? Why did you not speak? Why did you not cry out? Only this silent note, shredded like snow, falls on my broken body, covers me like whispers of sorries. Sorries. Please, when you find me, bury my bird bones. And I must state quickly that I'm very proud of her. She's working, she's going to college, and as of today, we are fine with each other. But we have had our moments, like those teen moments. And she has caused me as a parent and as a woman to really have to look at myself, my codependency, my addiction to control. She left home, not when expected or desired, but probably at the right time. And as I grieved in her empty room and wept for my loss, I wanted to mend and bridge the silences that she had built, like garrisons, to protect the fragile blooming of herself. I remember asking myself, why is my daughter in so much pain? Why is this child, then 18, whom I consider attractive, intelligent, and well-fed, in so much pain? She did not have to feed chickens and shovel manure. She did not have to walk 3 miles to school. Do I hear the voice of my mother here? But she feels powerless. She feels victimized and unloved. And my mother's voice says, the mother's love does not count. We're supposed to be there. It is the peers, it is the friends who count. It is the love and the attention of the absent father who counts. She blames her mother for her feelings of insecurity. That's me. And I blame mine for my misery. I read Bruno Bettelheim and Carl Jung. They cannot tell me why my daughter is in so much pain. She stops talking to me. She plugs herself into a wall socket and becomes a telephone. She starts speaking in tongues. She dates men in cars with those great big rear tires. And like the 3 faces of Eve, I can feel my face splitting and my mother's voice erupting out of my throat. You can love someone who is rich as easily as you can love someone who is poor, she'd say. My mother would conduct telephone interviews. What are you laughing about, Cecil? You were there. It's your voice too, baby. She would say, my mother would conduct telephone interviews with guys who called me for a date while I was going to college. And did they go to college, she would ask, preferably Stanford or USC. I mean, I was going to UCLA. And what did they major in? Oh, you're going to be a neurosurgeon. My daughter will see you tonight at 5:30. I would come home totally unaware, and these poor guys would have been interrogated by my mother, their family histories extracted from them, like, is there insanity in your family? And what do how much do your parents make a year? Well, out of defiance, I dated starving artists. My mother does not know why I'm in so much pain. You see, when it comes to mothers, we must break tradition. My daughter denies she is like me. Her secretive eyes avoid mine. She reveals the hatreds of womanhood already veiled behind music and smoke and telephones. I want to tell her about the empty room of myself, this waiting room where I feel worthlessness, where we are confined to jealousies, and our significance is defined only by a man. I deny I am like my mother. I remember why. She kept her room neat with silence, defiance smothered in requirements to be nice, passion and loudness wrapped in an obi. I want to break tradition, discover the lies my mother told me, the lies that we are powerless and should be seen and felt upon, not heard, that our possibilities must be compressed to the size of pearls, passive-aggressive chokers around our neck. My daughter denies she is like me. Her secretive eyes are walls of smoke and music and telephones. I do not know the contents of her room. She mirrors my aging. She is breaking tradition. I still do not know, nor can I answer the cause of her pain. Martha's smile still haunts us. There are many stresses hidden behind our smiles. Reconciling our diverse cultures and traditions in a Euro-American dominated value system, creating ourselves authentically despite institutional racism. We cannot deny the pain of feeling at times homeless and vulnerable in a country that causes us to feel like aliens, regardless of the length of our citizenship. Those who think we are closer to being white and wish to separate themselves safely from our other ethnic brothers and sisters, those who accept the divisive label that we are model minorities, well, I must say to them, wake up, you are in deep denial. Listen, and you can hear the negative one-dimensional stereotypes and see the exotic or evil fantasies we fulfill in the media and film industry, the glass ceiling that limits us in corporate America, underrepresentation in political, social, and economic arenas, the exclusion of our history, cultural genocide, increasing drug abuse problems and gang membership among our youth, growing anti-Asian violence. My daughter was told by her roommate's friend just last year that the Japs should have been put into camps because kamikazes are crazy, still are. Japan is replacing the Soviet Union as America's #1 enemy and competitor. It seems like the open hatred and overt expression of prejudice against Japan is not simply approved of, it is encouraged, it is applauded. This means we are all in danger. Because though we understand our diversity and progeny, to many in this society, we are all alike. Yes, we are not invisible. No, I'm not from Tokyo, Singapore, or Saigon. No, I don't own a Cheongsam. No, your dogs are safe with me. No, I don't invade the parks for squirrel meat. No, my peripheral vision is fine. No, I'm very bad at math. No, I do not answer to China doll, geisha girl, Susie Wong, Mama-san, or Jap or Chink. I do not know the art of tea, and no, I'm not grateful for all you've done for me. Friends of mine have died from AIDS, another driven mad by PTSD from the Vietnam War. Some of us were murdered because of this economy, another has OD'd. We've been jailed for mistaken identity, or just because of our ancestry. I've survived years of incest, took alcohol for a lover, and homeless slept in a car. Attempted suicide, had an abortion, and no, I'm not the model minority. No, I am from Stockton, Locke, Angel Island, Detroit, Monterey, Waikiki, LA, San Francisco, the I Hotel, New York City, Lodi, Boston, Mississippi, Anchorage, Tule Lake, and Raleigh. Yes, I'm alive because of memory and my own tongue breaking free. Yes, we're growing in numbers with great diversity. We will teach you how to tell us apart. Yes, this strength is not invisible, knitted in the embroidery of our bones. Yes, I am from Tokyo and Singapore, Manila, Guam, Cambodia, Thailand, Vietnam, India, Bali, mainland China, Korea, Samoa, Hong Kong. Yes, this strength like ropes of the sun, again lift a new morning. And yes, we rise, as always, amidst you. Obviously, the World War II camps are historical evidence of America's racism, as are the broken treaties and the massacres, slavery and segregation and immigration laws, to name a few. There are many who think that real racism is a thing of the past, especially in the North, which Maya Angelou refers to as Upper South. As if Vincent Chin in Detroit, the young black men in Howard Beach, Yusef Hawkins, and the Stockton Schoolyard Massacre are situations of unreal racism. When swastikas were pasted on Cecil in my home, and he received hate mail and threatening calls, and I got spit at, there were people who called and actually said, "Don't get mad. It's an isolated incident. You are such nice people," like Martha's smile. Suppress your anger, swallow from the melting pot, and be grateful for how far you've come. Smile. Something recalls the posture on your belly, on your knees, on your toes, neck stretched taut on your back. Now, ain't no need to get crazy. Don't get mad. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Boss, son, masa, sahib, kimo, sabi, buana, missy, Ann. Oh, ha, ha. No, I couldn't get mad. Not when that man heaved his spit at me, put his body into it, he did. Landed at my feet a ball of slime, and his phlegm-covered words slapping at my ears. No, I can't get mad at that. Ah-ha! I remember we met in camp under the barrack, behind barbed wire. Tets with blanket under his arm, drew me into the crawl space. He gently peels each button, my breasts like small moons in his hands. Breath stops, even the crickets are silent, and then laughter, like splintered glass. Cruel army boots kicked dust into our eyes. Tets rolled on his belly, slithered like a lizard, arms outstretched, hands over his head. I slide out on my back, wriggling like an overturned beetle. The cold steel barrel of a rifle slides inside my skirt. Something rips. I think I hear him sob, face down in the dust, limp and shackled. No, don't get mad. No need to get crazy. They're just words, sticks and stones, swastikas splattered on our door, words cold as ash and lime and brick. Nigger die and nigger lover die twice. No, I couldn't get mad. Ha. You can laugh over this with your children. The best way to handle the trade imbalance, suggests a Chrysler executive, would be to charter the Enola Gay. Get it? The Enola Gay. The plane that dropped the bomb on Hiroshima. No, don't get mad. He picked up the Asian woman hitchhiking, couldn't help himself. It was too easy and not enough just to rape her, so he cut off her arms as calmly as getting dinner. Left her for dead. No, can't get mad. Something recalls the posture on my belly, on my knees, on my toes, neck stretched taut on my back. The cold barrel of their rifle ripped open my skirt on a bet. See, their sex ain't slanted. Give me my $1. Tets found years later, face down in vomit, OD'd on Jim Beam, alone in Lodi. No, don't get mad. I remember meeting them behind barbed wire. There were drones in the distance, Wounded Knee, gunfire in Soweto, and children's bodies flying into the dust, corpses lined in rows in El Salvador, the sickening thunk of broken necks swinging from branches in Macon County, Contra Costa 2, Howard Beach 2, blood flowing in a Stockton playground, all the murdered children, Asian. Who, me? Mad? Martha's smile, deep inside me. I had experienced incest and molestation from the age of 5 to 16 by a number of adult males in my family, almost daily. I was not going to read this poem because I wanted to talk around, about, and at you on this subject. Hide behind words and theory, intellectualize about my death, about the suicide of my feelings, about my addiction to pain and mistrust, about my nobodiness and the destruction of self-love. And then Edna and Cecil pulled my coat and told me, stop hiding. Stop mistrusting you because I don't trust myself. And what have I got to lose except face? And what is face except Martha's and my smile? I collected insects for my biology class, beetles, crickets, butterflies, dropped them into a bottle of hydrochlorinated fumes and quickly stilled those beating wings. He locked me in an airless vault of shame, the darkness of closets, barns, and muffled bedrooms. Kept me in a jar of silence with the poisons of threat. If you speak of this, you will kill your mother. I pinned dead insects neatly on paraffin with gleaming silver straight needles. I think I hear the butterfly scream. He peeled back my skin, pierced my flesh with the dull blades of his hands, slowly pulled off my wings, impaled me, writhing. Without swift mercy of insecticide, I suffocated slowly, swallowing bits of my tongue, my body hollow as the mute row of corpses pinned to paraffin. I work with a group of women in recovery from crack cocaine. This group, called Women on the Move, is part of a vast recovery program created by Cecil Williams at Glide Church in 1988. At the time of the writing of this poem, 100% of the 20 or so women in the group were survivors of incest, abuse, and molestation at an early age. The women were so honest and so revealing that I had to face my addiction. And though mine was not crack, I feel that all our addictions, our denial systems, have similar roots, and the issues of recovery and self-esteem are relevant to me, and maybe to you too. The stories by the women have been modified slightly with their permission. I know little. I scarcely see. Fear eats at my eyelids like mold, afraid of who she is. Their voices blood red, velvet like roses with thick thorns, persistent as the pain from puncture wounds. She, one, wants her children back. She, too, is sterile. She, three's teeth are dissolving, and her hair is falling out. She, 4, hasn't menstruated in 4 months, not pregnant. She, 5, cannot sleep, drenched in nightmares. I know little. I scarcely see. Their words like roses, thick-thorned. She, 3, says she was raped at 12. She killed herself at 12, buried the child in a dank tomb, and got high so when she was raped again and again by her father, her 4 brothers, she wouldn't feel the pain. She, 4, is a computer programmer. She lost her job, her car, her house, her children. She, 2, says she beats women. She needs to hear them scream so it will drown out the sounds of her own screams. She, 1, let a John have sex with her 3-year-old child for $50. She, 5, was battered for 8 years. He finally rammed a broom handle up her vagina, punctured through, pushing stomach and intestines into her lungs. He left her for dead. I know little. I scarcely see, afraid to know who she is. She feels unlovable, abandoned by a father she never knew. She thinks she deserves to be beaten. She needs someone to need her, so she had her first child at 14. She was raped by the men in and out of her mother's life. She thinks she is nobody without a man. She hates all men because they killed her mother. She has been taught that thought is ugly and she is wanted only for her body. She was taught that women are her enemies because they steal her men. She thinks he will stay if she gives him her welfare check. She says nothing matters except the pipe that kills the pain and murders care. She will do anything, lose everything for crack. We know more. Less afraid to see who she is, peeling away the petals of red, bloody roses. She has opened the tomb, found her 12-year-old hiding in the darkness. She leads her into the daylight, brings her food, watches her grow in her own body. She has stopped using crack. Today, it is hard, She is studying for her GED. She is not homeless anymore. She is gaining custody back of her children. She no longer hears the woman, who is she, scream. She is telling the men to hear her thoughts. She is revealing herself to women. She has filed charges against the man who attempted to murder her, so he will not kill any more women. Bouquets are flowering, blood-red roses. We smell their sweetness. I see, she, me. The child emerges from the dark graveside. Her small hands grasp roses. We feed her petals. Today, she blooms within our bodies. And if we're lucky, we find, and maybe this luck has nothing to do with this, we find relationships that will help us unlock the vaults of ourselves, break down the wall of shame, and love us unconditionally, and struggle for mutual relationships. This poem is for Cecil, and it's called Soul Food. We prepare the meal together. I complain, hurt, reduced to fury again by their subtle insults, insinuations because I am married to you, impossible autonomy, no mind of my own. You like your fish crisp, coated with cornmeal, fried deep, sliced mangoes to sweeten the tang of lemons. My fish is raw, on shredded lettuce, sliced thin as skin, wasabi burning like green fire. You bake the cornbread flat and dip it in the thick soup I brewed from turkey carcass, rice gruel, sesame oil, and chervil. We laugh over watermelon and bubbling cobbler. You say, there are few men who can stand to have a woman equal, upright. This meal, unsurpassed. With love and with community, and as Cecil says, as we extend ourselves with compassion, our power is born. We must reveal our pain so we might with less fear listen to our children's. We walk beside them as they sometimes stumble in their own paths, to their own rhythms, so they will not feel abandoned or without hope. And we face our addiction to control so we can help them affirm their power. We are not too insecure to tell them that we love them, so they can choose not to leap into the abyss of drugs or death. And Martha, from the window of the sea, she smiles, no longer to hide the pain. She teaches, and we listen. Thank you.